Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the Farm and Home Show. My name is Kristen Hildebrand, and we have been visiting the last part of this week with Dr. Nicole Gauthier. She's our Extension Plant Pathologist with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And I already know that you talked about the different pathogens so far. You talked about the stress inducers. It's not always due to the environment, like the cold or rain, but it can also be due to human error.
Yes.
The next question, though, is what is the corrective action or solution to all of these that we talked about before?
Okay. So with a stress pathogen or a stress-induced disease, we have to do two things. We have to correct that stress effect before we try to manage the disease. So usually we think fungicides for disease management,
Sure.
but fungicides will never work unless we correct that stress. So that's very important. So we have just a 1-2 punch going on there.
Right.
And so identifying that stressor is what comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can work our way backwards.
Yeah, and like you said, the Extension Office, we offer that service to talk to us, and we try to help educate. But there's a lot of questions that are involved in order to identify that stressor. So it does take a little bit of some question and answers back and forth.
It takes a lot of back and forth conversation, and sometimes I call it interrogation, because we go back and forth trying to figure out what it is that stress inducer. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of forms that we give and kind of trigger questions like our field visit checklist. So we do have some help to help homeowners try to go back and try to figure out if there was something that happened that maybe they don't realize.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of back and forth motion with that. Like you said, answering the questions, sending pictures, going over the checklist.
Yes.
So there's a lot involved. But one of the things that we do see is mulching is an important practice.
Yes.
Because it helps deter weeds from coming up and germinating, keeps it really attractive, but sometimes that can hurt the plant too.
Yes. So our volcano mulching, as we like to call it, we see that all too often, unfortunately.
Yes, we do.
So volcano mulching is the act of putting mulch up against the trunk instead of as wide as the drip line. So think about your root system, how the wood on your root system is different from the wood of the bark of a tree. So bark is intended to stay dry. So if you mulch against a bark or the trunk of a tree, it softens that protective armor, and that's how pathogens get in, that's how insects get in. So what's happening is it's trapping moisture and softening. So mulch has to come down, it can't touch the bark of the tree, it has to come out a couple of inches, and then it has to spread wide at least to the drip line of the tree. Yes.
And a lot of times people don't think the drip line is where you see the longest branch. You know, sometimes they just put it right up against the base of it.
And it's serving you got to go way out. In a mature tree, the root system is 1.5 times the diameter of the tree, so it extends way out there. And that's where the feeder roots are. So we talk about reducing stress, so to regulate that moisture and to keep those weeds down, to keep mowers and string trimmers off of that trunk.
Right.
Mulch is really valuable. So when you plant a tree, you've got to be willing to invest in mulch. Or buy a smaller tree. So that's my advice there.
Right. So spring and fall are good times to apply mulch. Like you said, go away from the main trunk of the tree out to the drip line, 2 to 4 inches. Is that what you said?
2 to 4 inches, yes. Like if I put pine straw, I go in with 6 inches because it settles.
Right.
And I use anything. I use leaves, I use straw, I use anything. So as long as you're protecting that tree, it doesn't have to be the dyed black, pretty bark nuggets.
Yes. Well, so we talked about mulching. One of the other products that's out there for homeowners is the weed and feed products.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Those are major stressors for trees. So a lot of your weed and feed products have an herbicide in them, have a broadleaf herbicide in them. Those can be taken up by tree or shrub roots and taken up into canopies. So you're basically using an herbicide on your tree. So very careful reading of labels. I just recommend against them.
Okay.
And if you have to spot spray any herbicides in your lawn, which really mowing high enough will eliminate enough of those weeds. So it's back to plant health. If you've got a healthy lawn, you shouldn't have the weed issues. But be very careful. A valuable tree can really be taken down by something as simple as weed and feed.
Right. So be very cautious with the weed and feed products. Same goes for your lawn as well.
That's right.
So if you have any questions though, Nicole, I know that you've been a wealth of information, but your direct line of source here in the county is to make sure you contact your local extension office. So make sure you call on us, get that information. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great week.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.